Devin, obviously, the playoffs are here. You just got to wait a few more days to know who you're playing. What's that like for you personally to sit on idle and, okay, now it's down to two teams that you know?
Well, it's cool. I'm enjoying watching the games. We'll see Friday night who we play. So, like you said, just preparing and scouting for all situations. And, now it's down to two, so we'll see.
We had talked before about D'Angelo and to see what he did in that game. What was it like when you watching him do what you know that he's capable of doing, being that ice water guy at the end of the game?
Yeah, that was an important win for them. He played really well. And I think their team responded well to Carl fouling out. And, it was a little messy game, but D'Angelo did what he was supposed to do, and they played well and got the win.
Willie might be one of the opponents in New Orleans. How you watch the game Friday? How much do you correspond with him while he's doing this thing in New Orleans?
I mean, from where they started to where they're at now, man, it's very impressive. And, you can credit their players a lot. You can credit, the front office for the trades that they made. But, I think most of that falls on Willie. And setting a foundation and developing a culture over there. And you can see the camaraderie between those guys that, they believe in them. That's really important if you're trying to win basketball games.
Did you guys get together to watch the game last night?
Last night we didn't. The first night we did. Yeah.
Friday probably.
Friday we will too. Yeah.
But can you take us through the game huddle, like how that all came to be and implementing this dog pound kind of routine?
I honestly don't know where it came. That's chemistry. Everybody has something with each other individually, and then we top it off with JaVale doing his thing. So, it's just a good way to get us ready to go, man. We enjoy doing it. We enjoy doing it on the road. It keeps us together. It keeps a routine and keeps all of us running out at the same time too. If you watch a lot of teams, and I've been on in the past, you don't see everybody run out at once. Some guys are figuring things out in the back, but let you come together before you go out.
How often do you and DA and Mikhail think back to 3 years ago being part of a 63-plus loss team, and now here you are, best team in the world?
I don't think about it much anymore. I had a few years before that also where I was at the bottom. So, a lot has shifted since then, and, we've watched it grow, we've watched it develop. Obviously don't forget those days. All those times, make now even better, make it now even more important.
How do you balance wanting to get back and start the playoffs, but also knowing that the rest that you could get this week would be pretty important for the next couple of weeks?
You want to keep your conditioning. I missed a couple games late in the season too to rest. So just finding that, say just your win, make sure your win's still up. Understanding what the playoffs is going to bring, a more physical game, a more high-paced game, and, just having your body ready for that.
If you have that kind of week off, Mike talked a lot about tightening the screws. How important is that to just kind of take this time when you don't know your opponent to just focus on yourself?
That's exactly what we're doing. Implementing new stuff, taking it day by day, not throwing too much at us at a time, but, just focusing in on key parts of our team that we feel that we need to work on from the regular season. And like you said, just tighten that up and get ready for it.
What's the energy like in those scrimmages when you guys haven't been able to play each other for a while or play anybody for a while?
Yeah, high intensity. We have a really competitive team top to bottom, so any chance we get to go against each other is going to be high energy.
When you look at Mikhail, and y'all know what he does defensively, where have you seen him grow the most on the offensive end?
Just being more aggressive, being confident, calling for the ball. Those are all things we need. I think we see his early seals in transition, his mid-range. He usually has a smaller defender on him. He's shooting right over him. So, you hear a lot about his defense, but he doesn't get enough credit for, what type of scorer and playmaker he is.
Did you see that in him early, and he's just not getting to it, or is this something that's even surprising?
Nah, I seen him develop. He ain't have none of that shit. Okay, he's getting better too. That's the NBA. Year to year, you find things that work, and is it year 4 now? yeah, and you pick things up and you learn. And I wouldn't say it gets easier as you go, but experience is the best teacher. So you find little nicks and naps that work every game for you.
Is the anticipation for Sunday different for you at all compared to last year when you had your first playoff game and all this buildup of waiting for that for so long?
Nah, I'm still ready for it, man. First day of school feeling. Just really excited. And I don't know who our opponent is yet. And, I'm just ready to get to it.
Is there a different level of preparedness this year? I mean, obviously last year was kind of Chris and Jay, where the guys with the playoff experience was new for everybody else. But going into it this year, do you feel, as a whole, you're a bit different in that regard?
Really, I think we're just all focused, man. We have a really good group in that regard. Understanding what's at hand and understanding, how monstrous this whole thing can be for us, and we want it to be like that. So we just have to take a day at a time and build it brick by brick. We had a thing last year. We focused one game at a time. Every game has its own different energy, has a whole different feel to it. So I think having that experience will help. But we take it one game at a time.
We've talked about this town having a rich basketball tradition, and I don't ever recall a Phoenix professional team being the favorite to win the title. Obviously, there's pressure to win it against any team that's in the playoffs, but is there any kind of added push to this when you factor all that into the city wants?
I mean, we've been feeling that since we lost. And I don't think that's no weight from anybody else that's putting on us. That's the pressure that we put on ourselves, and that's the standard that we hold ourselves to a championship mentality. And, we preach and talk that daily, so now it's time to show it.
We're going to finish with one question on Zoom from Blake Levine in Mississippi.
I know this is probably a little bit random, not about the game, but we're doing a story about players that played high school in Mississippi. Do you ever feel, or get calls from people back in Mississippi about how you're representing them? You would be the first player to finish top 5 in MVP if you do from that played high school basketball in Mississippi.
I still have a lot of family down in Moss Point, so obviously they stay in contact. I'm sure they're hoping New Orleans wins, so they can be at some playoff games. But, other than that, I just had my court renovation down in Moss Point, so I try to stay in touch the most I can, try to be an inspiration for, those kids that walk the same halls as me, or the same kids on the Gulf Coast that, thought the NBA was out of sight and now feel, living through me that it's possible. So, I always try to stay intact with Michigan, Mississippi, Kentucky, any place that I've crossed in my path. I want to be an inspiration for the next generation.
Thanks, Book.
Yeah.
You see the video?